What's up, peeps? It's me. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is staying safe, and I hope everybody's being smart. And I also hope everybody's waking up to the truth of who you really are, the truth of the power that lies within you, the truth about the darkness and what's really in the darkness. We got a whole video on that. Just waking up to the truth of you being a spiritual being, you being a God, quote unquote, having a human experience. Hopefully everybody's waking up to the truth. But for this video, for this healing session, I want to get into two things. Towards the end of this video, we will get into the high vibration versus low vibration emotional chart. We will get into that, and we'll talk about some of the low vibration emotions, and we'll talk about the high vibration emotions, and we'll talk about why it's important to be mindful of what you're feeling, because your emotions are very important. Remember, emotions are simply energy in motion, right? And it's very, very important that your energy is going in the right direction, that your energy is going up, and that your energy is not going down. So we will get into that. But first, I want to get into this victim mentality, right? We need to talk a little bit about victim mentality, because all of this is about healing. All of this is about healing, and all of this is about the work that we have to do on the inside. It's about going into the darkness on the inside of us so that we can bring forth light, because we've already shown how it is out of darkness that growth comes. It is out of darkness that birth comes. It is out of darkness that change comes. It is out of darkness that transformation comes. It is out of darkness that light comes. So we're going to get into this whole concept of victim mentality, right? And the concept of victim mentality is not so much that you've been a victim, because we've all been a victim of something. We've all been victimized by something, somebody, some system, or whatever. We've all been a victim. But the victim mentality is when your very thought process, your very mindset, the way you think on a regular day-to-day basis is all about you being somebody's victim. You being the victim of somebody, the victim of some group, the victim of some organization, the victim of the government, or whatever, right? That's what the victim mentality is about. It's not about you being a victim and you've been hurt, or you've been abused, or you've been raped, or you've been scammed, or you've been betrayed, or whatever, and you have that hurt. Yes, we've all been a victim of something. And victimization hurts. So in no way is this to invalidate anybody's pain, anybody's trauma, anybody's hurt, anybody's experience. Yes, you experienced that. You went through that pain. You went through that trauma. It was real. And we know it was real. But the victim mentality comes in when you refuse to let that go. You refuse to release that to the point where it's holding you back. Not that you forget, nobody's telling you that you just need to forget it and get over it and let it go. But at some point, that's exactly what you need to do. At some point, that's exactly what you need to do so that you can heal from it, so that it won't hold you back. Because this is not about how anybody else feels about what you went through. This is not about how anybody else feels about your experience. This is not about how anybody else thinks. This is all about you. And it's about the fact that victim mentality, keeping your mind constantly on being a victim. You're always a victim, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what the situation, no matter what decisions you made. You're always somebody's victim. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always somebody else to blame. That's the victim mentality. Not the fact that you actually were victimized and you experienced that trauma, that hurt, that pain, like I said, that was very real. But the victim mentality comes in when you constantly use that as your excuse or as a crutch or whatever, not to make better decisions. Not to change your own behavior. Not to change some of the things that you need to change about yourself. Not to change your mind and change your thought process and go down on deep on the inside of you and do some work. Oh, well, I was a victim. When I was a child, I was raped. I was molested. I was abused. As a woman, I was sexually assaulted. As a man, I was abused when I was a child. I was mistreated, or I was thrown away, or I was abandoned. A lot of people have abandonment issues when it comes to their parents and all of that. Or my dad wasn't in the house. You understand? So I was just raised by women. So, and all of that stuff was real. All of that stuff was real to you when it happened. But there comes a time when you have to heal from that so that it won't hold you back. And so that it won't become an actual mentality. It won't actually become a way that you think day in and day out. You look at yourself. You see yourself as a victim all the time. All the time. And a lot of times people will use victimization. They will use having been a victim, having been traumatized, having been hurt, or whatever. They'll use that as an excuse in later years for, like I said, their bad choices, their bad decisions, their bad behavior. And because we live in a society today where it's okay, you understand what I'm saying, for you not to take responsibility for anything. You understand? It's okay for you to feel any kind of way you want to feel. And it's okay for you to think any kind of thing that you want to think. And it's okay for you to run around and be an abuser because you were abused. It's okay for you to run around and make other people your victim because you were somebody's victim. See, that's the society that we live in today. We live in a society where very few people are held responsible for the actual stuff that they do. Let's be honest. The black man is held responsible more than anybody else in this society. And he's held responsible for what he has done and for what he has not done. But everybody else just gets to run around like a loose cannon, you understand what I'm saying, and blame everybody else for their behavior. Just like this Christian Rock, or whatever her name is, everybody wants to blame Blueface for her behavior. No, she's doing exactly what she want to do. And because she's put it out there that she's somehow his victim, she's using this victim mentality, this victim way of thinking, this victim way of acting as an excuse for her bad behavior and her poor decisions. And nobody is holding her as a full-grown woman responsible for her thoughts, her feelings, her actions, nothing. Why? Because she's somebody's victim. She's his victim. Like she has no other choice. You understand what I'm saying? Like she been kidnapped or something and he holding her hostage and she has no choice. Yes, she has a choice. And she's choosing the behavior that she wants. She's not being forced to do anything. I mean, and it's running rampant with women right now. Women in general, specifically black women. The black man is just the perpetrator. He just the predator. He just the worst thing out there. And everybody is his victim. Everybody is his victim, and because the black man is just this big bad wolf, then it's okay for black women or anybody else to get on social media and on all these different platforms and tell other women to abort their black babies. Y'all know what I'm talking about. To treat black men like the quote unquote predators that they are, to accuse them of stuff that they have not done, to try to destroy their lives, to try to destroy their names, their reputations, and all right. It's fine. It's okay. Do that. Why? Because I was hurt by a black man. Because I was the victim of one specific black man. Now all black men have to suffer. Now all black men have to take the blame for something that somebody else did to me. Perfect example. There's this chick on YouTube. I think she met her husband, her ex-husband or whatever, when she was like 19 years old, right? And I think he was like 23. So he was 4 or 5 years older than her, something like that, right? There's not a major difference. She was 19. She was legal. She was old. She was considered by many, especially the government, as an adult or whatever. And he was young too. He was only 23. So they were together for years, married, the whole 9 yards. Well, she finds out that he was cheating on her and he was doing this, that, and the third, and all of that. She kept taking him back. She would break up with him. She would leave or whatever. She would take him back. All of this, all of that, right? Now that she finally grew up, she finally said, okay, enough is enough. I'm not accepting any more of this. You understand that she done broke up with him, done went through the process of starting a divorce or whatever the case may be, paid for the divorce and moving on with her life. Now she started some stuff on YouTube where she wants to share all of these other women's stories of abuse. So now we're going to wallow in male bashing. We're going to wallow in man bashing because you were hurt, because you were cheated on, because you were mistreated by the man that you had. Now I want everybody else's story. You understand? I want all of these other women's stories and all of this so that we can just celebrate man bashing. We're talking about 2023. What woman does not know about domestic violence? What woman does not know that there's a telephone call, a telephone number that you can call and you can report domestic violence? Them folks will help you out of the situation. Them folks will help you get away. Them folks will put you in a safe house, the whole 9 yards. What woman does not know that in 2023? What woman does not know in 2023 that abuse comes in all forms? Not just physical abuse, but emotional abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse. You even got energetic abuse. So instead of sharing stories of these women healing, you understand what I'm saying? And instead of opening the platform up and making it stories from everybody, whether it be a male or a female or whatever, because men are abused as well. Men are raped. Men are sexually assaulted. Men go through the exact same things that women go through. They may not go through it at the rate that we do, but they do. And most of the time they don't say anything because society has said that a man is supposed to be strong and whatever he's going through, he just got to deal with it, and he got to deal with it by himself, and he got to keep those emotions bottled up and blah, 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 blah. So most men keep the stuff to themselves. But it's not that men don't experience this stuff just like women do. So why not open your platform up for all people to tell their stories, and not tell their stories of how this man was a dog and he used me and he abused me. You understand what I'm saying? And he cheated on me and blah. But why not open it up for stories of healing? How people overcame this abuse, how people overcame all of this trauma, how people overcame this pain. So at some point it just turns into nothing but another session of male bashing. Why? Because of the victim mentality. I always want to be your victim. And I want to keep reminding you and everybody else that I was your victim. Not that I've moved on, not that I've healed. You understand? Not that I finally said, okay, enough is enough, and I realized that I deserved better. You understand? And I had to go internally and do some work on myself for me to even understand the reason why I put up with it as long as I did. That's the thing that folks need to understand. Why do you continue? What is it about you that you're not willing to go in and see inside of you that makes it okay for you to put up with that type of treatment year after year after year after year after year? At what point do you take responsibility and say, okay, enough is enough. It's got to be something wrong with me that I keep putting up with this, that I keep dealing with this. So instead of me looking at the other person and constantly seeing that it's something wrong with them, let me look at me and see what's wrong with me, that I feel like it's all right for them to treat me this way, that I stay and continue to be treated this way. That's male or female. What is it about you? What work is it that you need to do inside of you so that you can have that sense of self-worth, that sense of self-respect? You understand? That self-love that says, okay, no, I'm not dealing with this. And I'm not talking about 5, 10, 15 years into the relationship. I'm talking about when you first notice the first red flags. Because usually there are red flags that we as women, especially us women, just totally ignore, totally dismiss. Why? Because you want that man. Or you want that relationship. You want that person. So you dismiss, you ignore, you look over all of those little red flags. Okay, well, that was your decision. And it's your decision that led to you being abused. It's your decision that led to you being mistreated. It's your decision that led to you being cheated on or betrayed or whatever. It's not that other person's behavior that led to it. It's your decision. Your decision to ignore the red flags. Your decision to ignore. Most of the time you got people around you in your ear. I don't think you need to do that. I don't think that's the one for you. You understand what I'm saying? In a lot of cases, you even know about the person's past relationships and how they acted in their past relationships. But you ignore all of this, dismiss all of this, push all of that to the side, and make a decision to step into that relationship with that person anyway. And then after you get exactly what you were told you were going to get, or what you thought you were going to get, or what you knew you might get, or whatever, then all of a sudden it wants to become that other person's fault, and you want to fall into this victim mentality. I'm the victim. I'm the victim. Oh, poor me. Please look at me. Help me. Feel sorry for me. I'm the victim. No, you're the victim of your own choice. That's what you're the victim of. You're the victim of your own choice. You are the victim of the decision that you made. You made yourself a victim by ignoring all the red flags, all the signs around you. And that's not just for relationships. You understand what I'm saying? That's family situations, that's job situations, all of that. You understand what I'm saying? Here they come, you know, they offering you a job. You done seen how other people in the company have been treated or whatever. You've been told how these people operate or whatever. For some reason, you think it ain't going to happen to you, or you think you better than them, so it's not going to be the same way with you or whatever. You step in that position and then you get treated the same way, if not worse, than all those other employees that you knew were being treated that way. And then when you finally quit or you finally get fired or whatever, you want to blame the company. You want to blame management. No, that was you. You decided to ignore what you knew, to dismiss what you knew, to ignore the red flags and take a chance anyway. So you're not anybody else's victim. You are the victim of your own choice. You are the victim of your own decision. Now, in cases like slavery, in cases like where people have been abducted, meaning they've been kidnapped, sex trafficking, and things like that. Okay, that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different because your ability to make a choice, your ability to say yes or no or whatever has kind of been taken away from you in those situations. But even in the case of slavery, especially slavery in North America, because that's the only slavery that I really know a lot about. Now, I know that there's been slavery in all of these other places, but I ain't lived in all them other places. My ancestors were not a part of the slavery in all those other places. So this is the slavery that I know about. But even in the case of antebellum slavery here in North America, all the enslaved did not have that slave victim mentality. A lot of them refused to be slaves. That's the reason why you had so many uprisings. That's the reason why you had what they quote unquote called the Indian Wars, but they were actually the Maroon Wars, where they just refused to continue to be slaves. They refused it. And they did not sit around and feel sorry for themselves. They didn't sit around and, oh, well, I'm a victim of this and I'm a victim of that or whatever. Yes, they were victim of slavery just like everybody else. But they refused to continue to be victims. They refused to accept the victim mentality, which is I'm going to think like a victim. I'm going to act like a victim. I'm going to look at myself and think of myself as a victim all day and every day. They refuse to do that. So even though they were victimized, they were not victims. Even though they were oppressed, they did not allow that to hold them back and to keep them down. Even though they were enslaved, they refused to continue to be slaves. Just like you got some folk go into getting caught up in sex trafficking and all this kind of stuff, they refuse to accept it. And just like in the situation with the slaves, there were many slaves that died knowing that death was the only freedom that they were going to ever have. Well, they chose the freedom of death over being a slave, over continuously being somebody else's victim, over continuously giving their power to somebody else. Because that's exactly what you do when you buy into this victim mentality. You are constantly giving whoever you claim is victimizing you, you are constantly giving them your power. You are constantly giving them the ability to keep you as a victim. And at the end of the day, you ain't holding nobody back but yourself. At the end of the day, you ain't holding nobody back but yourself. And no, I'm talking, and no, for those of you who might be asking this question, no, I'm not talking about reparations. Hell yeah, we deserve reparations. We deserve reparations, restitution, retribution, the whole 9 yards. That's not that's not the victim mentality. That's what's owed to us. Because as a group of people, we were injured. We were damaged by this government. And that damage has never been repaired. That injury, that wound has never healed. So that's not what I'm talking about. Because as you know, as you can clearly see, you understand, the slaves our ancestors didn't get caught up in the victim mentality. Not as a collective. Now, there might have been, 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 individuals, but as a collective, we didn't give into that. That's the reason why we were able to overcome so many things. We are still victims of white supremacy, but we don't give white supremacy our power. We find a way around white supremacy to do what needs to be done. So when I talk about the victim mentality, in no way am I talking about us and our reparations. Oh no, we owed our reparations. I don't care how spiritual I am, they owe us our money and our land. But see, the victim mentality keeps you from moving forward. It keeps you from finding a way around whatever it is that's trying to victimize you. Finding a way over whatever it is that's trying to oppress you. Finding a way under whatever is trying to enslave you. See, the victim mentality keeps you stuck. You can't move forward because you're stuck in the past. Your mind is stuck in the past. Your mind is stuck in that place of trauma, in that place of pain. And because that's where your mind is stuck, that's where you are stuck. Because you can't be no more than what your mind tells you you are, than what you allow your mind to tell you that you are. So if your mind is telling you that you are a victim and you're allowing your mind to tell you that, and that's what you think about yourself every day and every night, is that I'm a victim. I'm somebody's victim. It's always somebody else's fault. Don't hold me responsible for anything. See, that's a lot of it. That's a lot of the reason why people choose the victim mentality. It's because they don't want to be held responsible. They don't want to be responsible for their own lives. They don't want to be responsible for their own decisions, their own behavior. They want everything that they do and everything that they say to be excused because, oh, I'm a victim. If you met that man or that woman, okay, and when you met them, they was beating the ex upside the head, or when you met them, they were beating knocking the current a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever upside the head. What makes you think they're not gonna knock you upside the head? What makes you think you're gonna be any different? Unless this person separates him or herself from everybody and does some deep inner work and then gets with you. If the same person coming at you was the same person that was with them, what makes you think it's going to be any different? If you're a woman, you with a man, he got 3-4 kids out there that he already ain't taking care of. He already being a deadbeat dad with them or whatever. What makes you think it's going to be any different if you have a baby with him? And then you have one baby with him, he don't do no good. You mess around and have another one. But then at the end of the day, it's his fault. You his victim. He mistreated you. He did you wrong. He did the kids wrong. No, you mistreated yourself. You did you wrong. You did the kids wrong. Why? Because you saw what he was, who he was, before you ever had the first child with him, based on seeing the experience of some other woman with him. But now you want to run around to the government and child support court and all of that to try to make somebody be something that they clearly do not want to be. And you knew that. Because he didn't want to be that with the other ones. Or you was the sneaky link when he was married to this woman. Or you was the sneaky link when she was married to this man. Now you mad because they cheating on you? How did you get them? But now you running around playing the victim. This person get mad, they get to slinging stuff and throwing shit. Now, they ain't hit you yet. But they get to slinging stuff and throwing stuff and all of this and huffing and puffing and storming out the house, slamming doors and all of this kind of stuff. How long do you think it's going to be before you the one they start slinging? But you would decide because you just so in love, you can't leave. And then once it happens, you the victim. No, you yeah, you are the victim, but you're not that person's victim. You're the victim of your own decision. Whether it be a good decision or a bad decision, you are the victim of your own decision. But it's just easier to play the victim because you ain't got to be responsible for nothing. And folk are going to keep on making excuses for you and keep excusing, like I said, your bad behavior and your poor decision making. But at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you are the one left behind. Why? Because you've given all of your power, all of your ability to create anything for yourself, all of your ability to create a new life and a new reality for yourself and for your children or whatever. You have given all of that power to these folks or these people or these things or these entities or these groups or whatever that are victimizing you. You have given them all your power. So now you sitting somewhere, a dried up husk of yourself, empty and devoid of all power. Why? Because you wanted to be the victim. You didn't want to be responsible. You didn't want to have to go do the hard work. The hard work is the work that you have to do on the inside. Like I said, that work, when you sit down and you finally ask yourself this question, what is wrong with me? Not what's going on with everybody else. Not what's wrong with her, what's wrong with him, what's wrong with them. No, what's wrong with me? What do I need to change about me? What shit in me do I need to clean up that keeps attracting all of these flies? Because flies love shit. So if you're attracting all of these bad character type of people that are treating you any type of way or whatever, what shit in you do you need to clean up so that you can stop attracting flies? So let the victim mentality go and do the work. Stop using that as an excuse to bash all men or to bash all women. You know, we got this woman's fear and this man's fear, manosphere, and all of this out here where the women we man free and where the men is women free and all of that. No, you need to go inside and do some work in you and find out what is it in you that keeps attracting people that will mistreat you, that will hurt you, that will traumatize you, that will betray you and abuse you. Let the victim mentality go. Because at the end of the day, it ain't hurting nobody but you. Because all these folks is walking around excusing you and all of that, them folks don't care nothing about you. Because if they cared anything about you, they wouldn't be excusing your behavior and excusing your poor choices just because at some point in your life you were somebody's victim. They would be telling you, wait a minute. Yes, I understand the pain was real. Yes, I understand you were traumatized. But now it's time for us to go through the process of helping you get some help so you can heal. So you can heal and move forward. So you can heal and take responsibility for your life. And begin to make choices from that place of healing. Let your behavior reflect the fact that you are healing. So that's it. Now, on the screen, we're going to move on. That's all I got to say about the victim mentality. But I think everybody needs to stop. You understand what I'm saying? And you need to stop and check yourself. Stop and check yourself. Stop and check where you are mentally. Stop and check the thoughts that are going through your head. Stop and check what you're feeling. Stop and check if every time something go wrong or every time something don't go the way you want it to go in life, you find somebody else to blame. Whether it be the government or whether it be slavery or whether it be white folks or or whether it be your ex or whatever, every time something don't go right, every time something don't go your way, you find somebody else to blame. Every time you end up in a bad situation where you end up with on the short end of the stick, you find somebody else to blame instead of stopping and taking a good look at you. What could I have done different? How did I put myself in this position? There are a lot of people suffering from the victim mentality and don't even realize it. Because if you're the victim that often, then yeah, you definitely need to do some work. You definitely need to find out what's wrong with you that you keep on being everybody's victim. All right. Now, let's move on to this emotional chart, and you'll see it on the screen. It's called the emotional spiral, and it's got the ascending emotions and it's got the descending emotions. And I just want to talk about a few of them on each side, because ascending starts with hopefulness and calm optimism. Descending starts with boredom. Now, who would think that boredom would be a low vibrational, which means the vibration that you send out to the universe is low? Somehow or another, you're either listening to something or you're involved in something, or your mind is in such a place, you understand what I'm saying, that you're vibrating low. And you're producing all of these low vibrations. And boredom is the first one. Boredom is where it all starts. All these folk running around talking about, I'm bored, I'm bored, I'm bored. Okay, well, if you do something positive, if you get a hobby, you know what I'm saying, if you do something with yourself and get your mind to operating on something where you're trying to create something or whatever, then maybe you wouldn't be so bored. And I could understand how boredom would be the beginning. Why? Because boredom is what leads people to do a lot of things that are not good for them. A lot of things that would be considered low vibrational actions. Boredom leads to drug abuse. Boredom can lead to you going out. It can lead to criminal activity. Boredom can lead to a whole lot of things that are not good for you. Okay? Boredom can lead to you want to experiment with this and experiment with that and all of that because you bored, and before you know it, you all caught up in some shit that you don't know how you gonna get yourself out of. So I can understand why boredom would be at the very top of the list of descending emotions. Those emotions that are taking you deeper and deeper and deeper into this lower realm, into these lower vibrations. Deeper and deeper into the lower self, the lower person of you. Right? Then you got feeling overwhelmed. Fear, of course. Fear is definitely a big low vibration, because fear brings about some bad things in you too. Fear makes you make bad decisions. Fear makes you make decisions that you normally would not have made if you were not afraid of something. Fear can lead to issues with your health. Okay. Jealousy. Envy. Jealousy is when you are afraid that somebody is going to take something that already belongs to you. That's what jealousy is, really, honestly. Envy is when you want something that belongs to somebody else, that they already have. It's not yours, but you want it. Green with envy, okay? Frustration is a low vibration. Being judgmental, passing judgment on everybody. You say you just don't like nobody. Everybody is doing it all wrong. You can do it better than everybody else, but you ain't doing nothing. Heartache, rejection, hatred, doubt, depression, bitterness. You know what I'm saying? All of these women and men But especially these women, we know about them. All of these folks walking around in bitterness because the relationship didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, and you couldn't be happy with the person, but you looking and you seeing them living, they look like they living their best life. You know what I'm saying? Most of the time it's with somebody else, and now all of this resentment and all of this jealousy and all of this done turned into bitterness. And you just bitter and mean and hateful and all of that. Dread, guilt, no will to live. I mean, that's at the bottom of it. When you just get to the point where you have experienced so much of this grief, failure, hatred, rejection, depression, despair, dread, bitterness, until you just get to the point where you just don't want to live no more. You just don't want to live no more. There's no happiness. There's no joy. There's no peace. And it usually leads to, if you stay in this low vibrational state long enough, dealing with these low vibrational emotions, if you stay there long enough, it usually gets to the point where you just don't want to live anymore. And in most cases, people take their own lives. These low vibrational emotions seriously often lead people to suicide, where they just don't want to live no more. That's the reason why we have got to be so careful. And it's not that we all have not experienced these emotions. Negative self-talk, where you constantly talking yourself down. You constantly talking bad about yourself. You constantly got something negative to say about your own self, about your own life, about your own children, your own family. It's just negative, negative, negative. You never have anything positive to say about yourself or anybody around you. You never have anything positive to say about your situation. It's just negative, negative, negative. And that's the reason why we have to be mindful. Mindful means we have to stop every once in a while during the day and check ourselves. What am I thinking? What thoughts am I thinking? How am I feeling? What am I saying about myself? What am I thinking about myself? What am I thinking about my situation? What am I thinking and saying about the people around me? Am I experiencing high vibrational emotions right now, or am I experiencing these lower vibration emotions that if I keep on fooling with them and dipping and dabbing with them, and they like to add on. The longer you stay, the more negative emotions and low vibration emotions come in until they lead to death. Now, this is where the high vibration emotions start, and then it ascends. Hopefulness. Are you hopeful? No matter what your situation might look like, no matter what it might appear to be, no matter what it looks like may be going on in your life right now, are you hopeful? Are you living every day knowing at any moment things can change for me? Are you living your life knowing, okay, but tomorrow can be a better day? I can't give up now. Calm optimism. Curiosity. Curiosity is actually a high vibrational emotion. Just being curious. What's really going on? What are they really doing over there? Why? Because curiosity often leads to learning. That's how most children learn. They get curious about something. And the more curious they are, the more they want to learn about it. The more they want to know about it. Okay? Being organized. Taking the time just to organize your time. Taking the time just to organize your workspace. Taking the time just to organize your car. Taking the time just to organize your phone. Being cheerful. Being grateful. No, I don't have everything I want in my life right now, but I'm grateful for what I got. I'm grateful for what I got. Because when you send out the energy, the emotion, you understand what I'm saying? The vibration of gratefulness, it's coming back to you. Remember, the universe can only send back to you what you send out. So if you're sending out all of this fear, you're sending out all of this frustration, you're sending out all of this jealousy, you're sending out all of this helplessness, you're sending out all of this hopelessness, all of this depression, you're sending out all of these low, the universe can only send that back to you. And when the universe sends it back to you, it sends it back multiplied. So it's going to be even stronger when it comes back in than it was when you released it. But it's the same thing with the higher vibration emotions. You understand what I'm saying? The more belief and acceptance and curiosity and peace and courage and gratitude and abundance and trust that you send out to the universe, the more of that positive stuff that comes back to you. And it comes back to you multiplied. And just like with the lower vibrations, the more higher vibrations you embrace, the more come. The more come. Because that positive energy just keeps on attracting more positive energy. More positive energy. So you have to decide. You have to stop for a minute, look at this chart, and I'll have a link to where you can see the chart, as well as the picture of it in the video. You have to look at this chart and you have to decide, where am I on this chart? Am I in low vibrational emotions that are only going to attract more low vibrational emotions? Am I in shit that's only going to attract more flies and more shit? Am I in garbage that's only going to attract more garbage? Or am I up here in this higher vibrational range that's going to attract, like bees to flowers, like the sun, like rain when you plant your garden and the rain and the sun come out to induce and to help with the growth? Where am I? Where am I in this chart, and what am I attracting? See, this goes back to these folks with this victim mentality. You understand what I'm saying? Am I vibrating low and being a victim? So because I'm sending out that energy of a victim, all I'm attracting are people who want to take advantage of me, people who want to make me their victim, because that's all I'm sending out. That's the only energy that I'm sending out, is that I'm somebody's victim. Oh, I'm hopeless, I'm powerless, I'm helpless, I'm a victim. And because that's what you're sending out, that's all you can get back. And like I said, it ain't like any of us can avoid feeling any of this. You understand? I don't care how spiritual you are. I don't care how long you've been spiritual. You understand what I'm saying? I don't care how many degrees you have risen in this spiritual realm or whatever. At some point or the other, you're going to experience some of these low vibrational emotions. Experience it. Go through it. Deal with it. And then move out of it. Don't stay there long. Talk to yourself. Get you a therapist. Talk to somebody. Read. Do something so that you can come out of it. Yes, you have to deal with your emotions. You can't run from them. You can't hide from them. You can't act like they don't exist or whatever. Deal with it. If somebody has hurt your feelings, if somebody has pissed you off, if whatever, express that to them. Get it out. Deal with that emotion and then move on. And go back to finding one of these emotions up here on the higher scale, and then focus on that. Focus on that. But don't stay stuck in that low vibrational place Because the longer you stay there, the more low vibrational energy you're going to attract to yourself. The longer you stay there, the harder it is to come out. So come out as soon as you realize that you are down here under that line. As soon as you realize that, work through it, figure out what's going on, figure out what you need to do. Who do I need to cut off? Who do I need to talk to? You understand what I'm saying? What do I need to do? Do it, handle it, deal with that emotion, and then hurry up and get back in that higher emotional range. And your life ain't gonna change overnight. Even when you start doing these things, your life is not gonna change overnight. But if you be persistent about it, if you be determined about it, if you be relentless about it, I'm gonna change my life. And in order for me to change my life, I got to change my mind, and I got to change what's going on the inside of me. If you be relentless about that, 100% committed to that, and you pay attention to this stuff, and you do this stuff every day, before long, oh no, it might not be no great old big old baboon, but before long, you start feeling better. You start waking up in the morning with some optimism. You start waking up in the morning grateful. You start waking up in the morning shining. You start waking up in the morning feeling like you ain't never felt before. That's the first sign that your energy is shifting. And when your energy starts shifting and you continue to keep your energy shifting, eventually the world around you will begin to shift. But it don't happen overnight. You gotta be committed. You gotta be relentless. You gotta be determined. Oh yeah, it's gonna be some change made around here. And it starts with me. So that's just what I wanted to bring y'all. I didn't mean to stay here this long, but it was very, very necessary. It was very, very important. I know I promised y'all that I was going to talk about this high vibrational emotion compared to the low vibrational emotion. Now you understand the reason why it is imperative, of the utmost importance, that we try to vibe as high as we can as far as our emotions are concerned. Why we have to be mindful of our emotions, what we feeling every day. Because that low vibrational emotional stuff, if you stay there long enough, it leads to all kinds of stuff. Eventually it leads to death. Eventually it leads to death. The road of low vibrational emotions is the road to death. Why? Because those emotions will begin to govern your actions. Those emotions will begin to control your decisions. And they will not be good decisions. They will not be decisions that are the best for you. And eventually, one way or the other, that road of low vibrational emotions leads to death. So if the low vibrational emotion leads to death, then what does the high vibrational emotions lead to? Life. Living your best life. Inside and out. Living your best life. Okay? So, I will have, like I said, I will have a link to where you can see this chart. You can pull it up. You can see it at any time you want to. You can actually save the image of this chart. You can save it on your phone. You can save it on your computer, whatever. So you have it to go back to refer to. So you can keep a check on your own emotions. And you can keep a check on where you are at any given time during the day. And if you find yourself in a spot where you don't need to be, which is below that line right there, then hurry up and deal with that emotion. Deal with that thing. Don't try to dismiss it. Don't try to ignore it. Don't try to push it to the side. Don't try to act like it exists. It don't exist. Deal with that emotion. Deal with whatever caused you to feel that emotion. Deal with it. And then once you have it dealt with, make sure you get back up here above that line. And stay up there above that line as much as you possibly can. Make it your mission every day, all day, to stay above that line as much as you possibly can. Because it's going to make you a better you. We ain't worried about nobody else. It's going to make you a better you. And what makes you a better you makes your life better. Okay? All right. Like I said, all the information for the channel, the email, the PayPal, the Cash App, all of that stuff, as always, is in the description box, as well as a link to this chart. I hope somebody got something out of this. If it didn't help but one person, then it's worth it. It's worth it to me if I don't help but one person. All right? I will be seeing y'all soon. I'm not quite sure. I'm thinking about what we're going to talk about the next time, but I'm not quite sure yet. So y'all pay attention to the shorts, because the shorts are always kind of like an introduction to what the video will be on. Okay? So remember, let's stay away from that victim mentality. And let's pay very, very close attention to our emotions. All right? Y'all take care. Take care of yourselves. Know yourselves. Do the work within you that needs to be done. Stop worrying about what's going on with everybody else. Stop worrying about how other people are treating you. If they ain't treating you right, cut them off. But first of all, find out what's going on with you. Find out what's going on inside of you first. Love yourself. Take care of yourself. Love each other. Take care of each other. And I'll talk to you guys soon.